Alright guys, so today we're going to check out a brand new pair of earbuds from EarFun. Now about a year or so ago they released the EarFun Clip 1. And open style earbuds we've actually seen just kind of take over, popularity over normal earbuds. And they've actually made a revised version to this. So today we're going to be checking out the EarFun Clip 2. And we're definitely going to check out some of the improvements and the revisions and different things that they've made. But first I want to talk about the price of these because they do come in retailing at $79. But because they were just released, there's a sale on Amazon, and EarFun even sent a code for you guys to be able to use, which I'll have linked in the description, which basically makes it where you can pick these up for $59, which is only about $5 to $10 more than you can pick up the original EarFun Clip 1. So we need to see if it's actually worth the upgrade. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the look and the design of these. It is very simple. It's very clean. The case on this has like a matte finish. It's very smooth. And once you open it up, you can see it is the clip-on style earbud. So this is the one that kind of can look like a pair of earrings, but it just kind of goes around the outside part of your ears. And it has a speaker that is just directionally pointing into your ear canal. Now, they definitely changed the position and the design of the speaker on these compared to the originals. The originals just kind of sat at the end of the ball that's sitting in your ear canal. But this time it actually is a strip, but it is more intentional this time. And you can tell a huge difference when it comes to the sound, which we'll talk about that once we get to that part. But they've also made some improvements as far as the comfort of these. It's no longer has like a tighter grip to it. They made the bridge of these a little bit wider. They've also distributed the weight a little bit better. So this is a much more comfortable earbud compared to the original Clip 1s. Now, one thing they didn't change is they are still using button controls instead of touch controls. This is still a huge plus because you don't want an earbud like this where you may find yourself kind of positioning it from time to time using touch controls, because then you're going to accidentally, pause or play your music and skip it around and do things you don't want it to do. So I'm glad they stuck with the button control, and I'm also glad that they give you control over everything. Now, if you do still want to switch around some controls, you can go within their app to do that. But like I said, everything's on there already out of the box, so there's really no need to do this. Now, some other things as far as some of the tech in here, it is Bluetooth 6.0, so it does support multi-point connection. This was the same thing with the original Clip 1, so this isn't like a new feature. It's still high-res wireless certified. It still supports LDAC playback. It does have a gaming mode, so if you are going to use it for gaming or for movies, you would switch it into this mode to kind of cut down any kind of lag. And then it still has the same IP55 rating. And I like this, that, it's not just giving you water protection, it's also giving you some dust protection, because this style of earbud, it's the whole purpose of these type of earbuds even existing is because it's made to be worn all day, pretty much any situation. So you could be on a job site where there may be dust around, but you don't have to worry that, if you're in an environment, it starts to rain, or if you sweat heavily or anything like that, it's not going to just damage your earbuds. So you are a little bit protected from some of your environment. Now, some of the differences and some of the upgrades other than the design part itself is they have now moved up to a 12mm titanium dynamic driver over the original 10.8 carbon dynamic driver. This also makes a huge difference when it comes to the sound, which again, we'll talk about once we get to the sound. This pair also has AI translation. So you can have it where it's listening to somebody that's not speaking your language, and then it will play back in your language so you know what they're saying. You can also pull out your phone so that you can read what they're saying as it comes across the screen. Same thing with being able to talk back to them. So you would just say something in your language, and then it will, read it out on the phone in their language, where you can show them what it is you're trying to ask them or what it is you're trying to say to them. And then they also have added what they call special stage. Now, this is technically just a 3D sound or spatial audio where they're trying to open things up quite a bit. It kind of gives it that like reverb effect, that 3D effect. Again, great for movies and TV shows, not so good for music. And I don't know that any company is just going to perfect spatial audio for music. I'm just not a fan of it personally. Now, as far as what comes in the box, pretty simple here. Does come with a USB-C cable for charging. And speaking of the charging, Battery life on these have also had like a slight bump. I mean, like a minimal bump, because the originals you could get 10 hours on the earbuds with 40 hours using the case. Well, now with the twos you can get 11 hours on the earbuds, but still 40 hours using the case. And it still has the same fast charging feature where a 10-minute charge will get you 2.5 hours worth of use. So again, not a huge upgrade as far as the battery life goes, but that 11 hours is still super impressive to be able to get you through a full day. And then if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, this is another area that they've upgraded, because now they use 4 mics on these, with also using AI environmental noise canceling, where the original version only had 2 mics. So the mic quality, in my opinion, is much better, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here. So here is a quick mic test outdoors using the Clip 2. I definitely hear some birds off to the side. I can hear a little bit of traffic. But this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. Let's talk about how the upgraded driver and the position of the speaker itself, how much of a difference this actually makes. Well, the original version sounded good. It wasn't anything fantastic. It wasn't anything that just kind of blew me away. But we have definitely seen open ear style earbuds progress quite a bit. We've seen some companies get very, very close to replicating the sound, or at least the somewhat experience that you get with a normal pair of true wireless earbuds with ear tips. And EarFun is kind of cutting it close there. They're getting it very close to that, because now these are much more detailed, they're much more clear, and they have better bass impact than the original Clip 1s had. Now, it's not going to be earth-shattering bass, it's not a rumble, but it definitely has some impact. It has a nice punch to it. It is very quick. It does a really good job across all genres. But I am going to say, if you are a bass head, this still is not going to give you the experience of a normal pair of true wireless earbuds. But when it comes to vocals, and when it comes to treble, like the clarity and like the crash of cymbals and things like that, this is very, very close to a normal pair of earbuds. I'm really impressed with how upfront vocalists sound. And if you are going to use them for movies or gaming, Dialogue just has this really nice upfront sound. And there's a lot of details in strings, and again, the crash of the cymbals. You're hearing a lot of details. Everything's pulled out like extremely nicely. And again, maybe this is why they don't push the bass even more, because it would just start to kind of muddy things up. But the driver, you can tell, is doing a much better job than the originals. And the position of the speaker, another huge plus about this, is this pair doesn't leak a whole lot of sound either, which again, it kind of allows you to turn these up a little bit more and not so much have to worry that people around you are going to be able to hear what you're listening to. And then when it comes to the soundstage sound imaging, no surprise here, definitely sounds like a very open pair of earbuds, so you have that distant feel, but it does a really good job of being able to pick apart, where different sounds are coming from. And again, if you do want to switch it into the theater sound or theater mode and have things be simulated a little bit more, you do have that option. But to wrap this video up and kind of give my overall opinion on these, this is a hell of a value with the Clip 2. It is a much more improved version over the Clip 1. I like the fact that they went bigger and better when it comes to the driver. The position of the speaker makes a huge difference. The high-res LDAC, people are going to say, doesn't really matter in an open ear style product. I still like having it. I still feel like it is a cleaner sound than what you get with normal Bluetooth, at least regular codecs. So I like the fact that it's on here, and I don't feel like I'm having to spend a fortune to get that feature. Battery life is awesome. If you don't want to use LDAC, definitely, 11 hours, 10 to 11 hours is going to get you easily through a full day. It's extremely comfortable. So once you put it on there, and after like the first 15-20 minutes or so of listening to them, you definitely just kind of forget that they're there. But I am going to say, the clip-on style earbuds, in my opinion, still just looks like you're wearing jewelry. So if that bothers you, it's something to kind of keep in mind. But I like the direction that earbuds are going in. I like the clip-on style. I like the open ear style. I've gravitated more towards that because the sound has gotten so much better and the technology has gotten better. And I think EarFun has another hit on their hand. But guys, that wraps up my video on the brand new EarFun Clip 2s. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.